So hello everyone watching on Facebook, and hello everyone here at PwC. Hello everyone at PwC. Yay! You have all skived off work shamelessly. Let's be totally honest about this. That's what's happening here. Thanks so much for coming. We're here in PwC offices today because they are celebrating their second year sponsoring the PwC All-Star Awards, which are upcoming, and they're going to be on next door at the Convention Centre on November the 2nd. And so to do that, we are joined by, well, a stellar panel of All-Stars. Would you give them a welcome, please? We have Joe Canning, Michael Quinlivan, Andy Moran, and Liam Rushe, everyone. You're all very welcome, lads. Thanks for coming.
Cheers, Joe.
So you two work here, we should say. You've also skived off work.
This floor and everything, so I had no excuses.
Okay, so thanks for travelling. Appreciate it. Very good. And we start with you. We're talking about the All-Stars. You're just the second Tipperary footballer ever to win one, Michael. So I know, like, team is everything, and you've won lots in your career, underage level. But, like, to win an All-Star, great feeling, big feeling, something you never thought you'd do kind of thing?
Yeah, it's not something you can kind of dream about when you're playing football with Tipperary. When I was growing up, it's a great day for your family, great day for your club and that sort of thing, and they really get a great kick out of it. But like, look, you prefer to be going winning things as a team, and unfortunately we haven't probably scaled those heights just yet.
Yeah. When do you find out you win? How does that happen?
Depends. I think this year would be the football. One or both find out first.
Yeah. Did you know in advance?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Declan Brown actually broke the news to me the night before I had even been told. So he texted me saying congratulations, which was a nice moment. He's the only other one. So
yeah.
But then when I texted him back saying what, he was like, "Oh, I probably shouldn't have sent that." And that was about it.
No one wants to ruin that surprise.
No.
Footballer of the Year last year. A big moment, I'm sure. Massive moment. How did you find out?
Yeah, it was something similar. Just a couple of days before, or just a couple of it was in the press. It was a big thing at the time because I suppose it was Dublin v Mayo again in the run into it. But yeah. you just find out naturally throughout. If you know Aidan O'Shea, he usually knows 4 days before everybody else anyway. So whatever connection he has somewhere along the line. So it kind of comes to you know just in advance of when it's announced, really. But you're on about All-Stars and it's been important. I remember in 2011, I was probably the first of our new group to win one. And I remember James Horn saying, "Joe, it's very important that you win it." Like, and I was kind of thinking, I couldn't understand really the importance.
At the start of the year even?
No, just after it was finished, you know, and right. I couldn't really understand the importance of why it was so important, you know what I mean? It was, and he was just saying, if you win one, more will come after you, you know, and the more All-Stars you're winning within a group, the better chance you have winning All-Ireland. So it's went on that we've won lots of All-Stars, but we're still waiting for the All-Ireland, you know?
Well, listen, I didn't want to bring it up, but
I knew I'd walk myself into a hole there. I had to try to get myself out.
Let's talk about the pain, Andy.
Yes,
Let's get into it, right into it.
Did we not do that interview?
Was winning Footballer of the Year, did it make the winter a bit easier? It must have. Like, it's an amazing thing to go and do. Footballer of the Year at 34 as well.
It was a great achievement. There's no doubt about it. I'm not one of these guys that say, Joe, the team. Of course, it's about.
Michael just said that.
Yeah, no, but
well, he was lying, obviously.
But of course, it's about the team.
Back to the pain.
Yeah. But of course, it's about the team in terms of winning something. But if guys are doing well individually within a group, I think it's massive for the group.
Yeah.
So if you see Joe Canning doing well for Galway and hurling, the guys all of a sudden then believe I can do the same thing, and then it kind of moves forward. So was it a big thing for me and my family? Of course it was. There's no point lying about it, but it's you still would replace it for everything else.
No, I'm sure. Where do you keep it?
Up in the attic. The thing, it's in Crow Park actually, but the other stuff would go up in the attic.
What?
Yeah.
Your Player of the Year trophy?
It's in Crow Park, but the All-Star and stuff like that would be up in the attic, yeah.
What do you get for getting an All-Star?
Kind of the same trophy.
And you threw it up in the attic?
I have a 3-year-old. If she pulls it down top of her, it'll kill her. That'd be some story, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well... Liam, you've got two. You burst on the scene and won one early, didn't you? Early-ish.
Yeah, 2011. So for, what position was that? Midfield, I think, yeah. Found out the night before as well.
Right.
Yeah, straight on to Paddy Power. He got wise at that stage though, so for anyone, you can't bet the day before either, so get it in early. Yeah, same as Michael. I'd say my parents knocked more crack out of it than I did. You know.
Right. Do they get to go to the ceremony?
They do, yeah. Or
Okay,
anyone can buy tickets.
But true, yeah.
But yeah,
so
you
magic
have the option to buy more tickets than just the ones you're offered for getting one. So yeah, they came along, made a big occasion out of it, you know, and enjoyed the sightseeing, you know, looking at there's Joe and different things like that. So pointing out embarrassed, standing away from them, Jesus. But no, it was good, it was great.
And are yours up in the attic?
I have no idea. They were my uncles, so he also knocked a lot of crack out of it. You know, your family members like about that's in West Clare, so I was like, get them away from me, you know.
Right,
you know?
okay.
Don't want a big head.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you've got 5 of them.
4.
You're not 5?
No.
I haven't heard anything. Well, and hurler of the year last year.
Yeah.
So where did they rank for you? Obviously, All-Ireland, a bit like Andy, that was what was driving you. But to win that many, to be hurler of the year, is something that you think about from time to time and take a bit of confidence from, or is it all just, you know?
I suppose the big thing in my family was Ollie had 4 until I got 4 last year. So it was always kind of a joke between ourselves. Kind of, he had something up on me for a while. But yeah, no, just like as the guy's saying, it's more for the family more so than anything. Like Mum has them at home and dust collectors as she calls them, stuff like that. So. But other than that, they don't really. I'd say it'll be in years to come when you kind of look back in your career and stuff, and you think about it that time. But when you're in the moment of playing and stuff like that, you don't really appreciate them as much as you probably should. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah, no, I'd imagine so. Well, I guess, part of your success is delayed gratification and not resting on your laurels, and whatever you win or achieve, you've got to park it very quickly and drive yourself onto a training pitch in muddy January the next day. Yeah,
that's exactly it. It's cliche really about everything like that, but it's the truth, you know.
So you park your successes very quickly. How quickly do you park an All-Ireland final defeat then against Limerick? Where are you in that? I was going to call it a grieving process, which is obviously a complete overstatement, but it must be incredibly difficult at the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to park that than it is a success, to be honest. That's still
raw.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so it's more that we just didn't perform on the day. It's not that we actually lost the game in a way. Which is a little bit contradictory, but it's more that no matter what you do in life, if you give it, like if you perform at whatever you do, you don't mind not being successful because you know when you look in the mirror in the morning that you gave it everything. But when you look back and you kind of go, geez, we only played for 10, 15 minutes. Imagine if we played for even another 5 minutes and we only lost by a point. So that part of it is really hard to take, but we didn't deserve it at the end of the day, so you just have to eventually move on sometime.
Did you have any feelings in the week leading into it that you weren't going to perform the way you were hoping to?
No. And it's not a thing that you often hear, like, oh Jesus, knowing that Tuesday night we were going to win the game. Like, that's
nonsense,
yeah. Bit of bullshit really, to be honest. So I'd never feel any differently. You obviously feel differently in match to match. You never go into a game and be it win or lose, like we've felt differently in all the other 13 matches that we probably won in the lead up to it and over the last 2 years for every game. So it's not the same every day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because actually afterwards people are wondering, well, geez, were they a bit patched up and were there injuries? And, you know, it's a long 2 years and all this. It's easy after the event to try and rationalise anything. But they were the things that were being said about the team potentially.
Oh, yeah, but hindsight is the best thing in the world, you know?
But were you patched up? Were you feeling a little bit low in energy? Were there lads carrying knocks from a long 2 years? More than usual?
Yeah, to be straight up about it, yeah, but that's only an excuse at the end of the day. You know, that's not the reason that we lost. If we won, there'd be nobody talking about it. But yeah, definitely, like Dahi and the boys, a few of us were just getting by, but obviously a bit too patched up to get over the line on the right side.
You've been getting by for a while with that knee. What is the story with it? Are you able to train?
At different times. I don't do the same training as the other guys.
Okay.
So I have a cartilage problem there for the last 2 years and got an operation last October. and the surgeon said if I was basically 19 again, it'd be a bigger op. So I'm coming to near the end of my time, I suppose, in the next year or so or whatever it is. So it's fine. I'm getting by and playing. Do you know what I mean? That's about it. I'd love to be able to do a bit more, but I just don't.
Sorry, the next year or so. You're 29, aren't you? 30?
Yeah, next month now I'm 30. Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
It's all right. It gets worse. So are you feeling you're actually into the last year or two potentially?
No, like I don't feel it like head-wise or anything like that, but you see guys retiring now at 29, 30 years of age and you're kind of thinking, geez, is it my time now? But
you're playing so well. I mean, you're a nominee for Hurler of the Year. I mean, you don't look like a man who's near retirement at all.
No, I don't feel like I'm going to retire, but like the more people tell me I'm approaching 30 and stuff, it's kind of, you're nearly getting to that age and you're kind of thinking to yourself, geez, do I have to retire now or what's the story? But
Andy's 35, he won't go anywhere.
I know, yeah. So
November,
sorry.
Oh, Roy Keane said to him, if you can't train.
I know, he wouldn't like it.
There's a whole different story. You know?
You probably had the when are you retiring question for a good 4 or 5 years now, have you?
Yeah, I did my cruciate in 2012. So I'd say I've had it daily since then. So you came back from the cruciate, I was never quick anyway, but I was definitely a half a yard slower anyway. And then it was like, his legs are gone. So my legs are gone since. So it's, but like it is something in the Irish psyche that I think we're in GA, we're quite ageist. So once you do cross 30, I do agree with people are saying, we're in other sports, 28, 29, 30 is your peak. In GA, we think that man should have 3 kids. And
I wonder, is that because you're amateurs and you just can't look after yourselves as well? Like you were doing a sales job in a car, driving, and maybe if you were still doing that job, you wouldn't be going at 34.
I wouldn't be playing. Yeah. That is it, you know. But it's if you really want to do it, I think there's support there to help you to do it, and it's up to yourself really, you know.
I would think it's something you can't let into your head. Like if you're on the pitch and you're running for a ball and you don't quite make it, and Liam Rushe nips in ahead of you, that could have happened to you at 21, and you would have thought, well, okay, that just happens. But if it happens to you at 31, you might think, that's a sure sign I'm not where I was. You'd almost have to be quite mentally strong to keep that out of your head on the pitch.
It did happen at 21. I don't know if you'd kind of think about it that way.
Okay.
But like I don't feel like I need to retire, but unless I'm actually contributing to the team or to the panel in a positive way, then I'm going to step away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I just don't like the way you said in a year or so.
Well, you don't know. I could get, like 2 years ago, I was a centimetre and a half away from retiring. Do you know? So I tore my tendon in my hamstring up here and got a serious operation on that. And thank God I made a full recovery. But that's how close it was to not being able to play again. So you just don't know what's around the corner. So,
so when you say a year or so, it's more of a who knows what the future holds as opposed to I'm on a timeline.
Yeah. There's no timeline. To be honest.
Whew. Breathe a sigh of relief. You said there everyone can come up with excuses after an All-Ireland when you don't perform, and that's the most frustrating thing. Have you found a reason as to why you think maybe you didn't perform as a team on the day in the intervening weeks thinking about it?
I didn't know. I haven't watched the match back. I probably won't. I don't know. Limerick are just better. Simple as that, really. Do you know? You can think up of different little things and this and that, but at the end of the day, they were better on the day, and that's as simple as that. It's kind of tough to actually admit that in a way, because obviously you're the opposition to it. We'd be better off. We didn't even win a match all year, as well as just losing an All-Ireland by a point. Do you know what I mean?
That's how you feel.
It's the same thing. Nobody remembers second in an All-Ireland. It's always the winners that's remembered. So but yeah, no, it was just better team in the day won. Simple as that.
You did rally brilliantly is the thing. Maybe that's part of the frustration as well. I mean, you're back to within, you're standing over a free and the whole country is looking at you. Tell us about that moment. Sorry. Did you feel it was within your range first?
Yeah. I should have got it. That's, I wouldn't have went back if I didn't think I'd get it.
See, I wasn't sure were you lobbing it into the square or what you were trying to do.
No, that'd be a waste of time, really. At that stage, like, do you know what I mean? When you get a free shot, do you know? No, like, I probably tried to hit it too hard and I kind of mishit it a little bit.
That suggests you're on the edge of your range if you're trying to hit it that bit too hard.
Yeah, it was, but like, if I connected sweetly with it, it would have went over, like. It dropped in the square, like, so there's only another 3 or 4 yards or whatever. And that's the frustrating thing, that if I connected rightly, who knows? But that would have been daylight robbery as well at the same time.
Well, these things happen. That's a sickening thing to have to digest.
Yeah, but that's the way it goes. Like, I remember in 2012, I had the same, well, not as far out, but a free to draw the match to bring it to a replay, and I nailed it. And if you missed that, that would have been way worse because it was, 50 yards out in the left. So comes in swings and roundabouts, I suppose.
Sure. Is the technical explanation for that, okay, you need to try and get a bit of extra so you swing that bit harder and therefore you're out of sync with your time, and a bit like, you know, you can hook a golf ball or hook a football when you're kicking it when you try and kick it too hard. That was just basically it.
Yeah, just, that's disappointing then.
Yeah.
I should have nailed it.
Yeah. What's the dressing room like afterwards?
I love this part.
Andy, what was the dressing room like afterwards?
What year?
It was obviously
quiet.
Yeah. It was just disappointment. Like, it was just a totally different. Like, when you can hear down the corridor they singing and jumping around, you're just going. It's just frustrating that we didn't obviously win it, you know, and we were in that position last year where we were the other team that was celebrating and stuff like that. So it's more that we knew straight away that we just didn't do ourselves justice, you know.
Yeah.
That was the big thing, I think, between the group, that we just didn't perform. Move on.
I think so, yeah. I think that's fair enough. No, it's great to get your honesty on it. I'm sure it's not a fun thing to talk about at all.
That's part and parcel of it.
It is,
no point in shying away from it either.
No. What's it like the year before then? Is that heaven? Is that everything you hope it will be?
Yeah, it is, yeah. That's, you know, the couple of minutes after is the best feeling on earth, you know, where you're just running around going mad for a while.
Yeah.
Not really knowing what you're doing, but you're running.
Adrenaline, like you've never felt adrenaline before.
Yeah, it was just like a pressure valve release, because like, obviously we were in a couple of All-Irelands before that and we lost, so like, we've been in the last 3 of the last 4 All-Irelands and just to win 1, so it was just like a pressure, just switching.
Relief.
Just pressure kind of.
Does it cross your mind at any stage, God, no matter what happens now, I've got to the summit, it can never be taken away from me? Is it that kind of a feeling, or is it?
In a way, yes and no. In a way, it probably stopped a lot of people saying that, like, you're nothing if you don't win an All-Ireland, which is bullshit, really. Like, do you know what I mean? There's, like, you look down through the years and there's guys that it's a team sport at the end of the day, and just because one person on the team doesn't win All-Ireland doesn't make him a failure. Do you know what I mean? When you play a team sport, you need the other 14 or 19, whatever, 20-man game nowadays to perform and make that happen. So,
but it stops that talk, at least.
Oh, yeah. Like, people can't, like, if you're on a night out, people can't say that to you anymore. Do you know, that kind of way?
Would you got a bit of that?
You would, yeah. Everybody, I think, gets it, you know. It's just lads looking for a bit of a laugh, you know. It's grand.
Lads are great crack sometimes, aren't they?
Great crack, yeah. But, like, that's part and parcel of it, and it does stop that, so you're kind of, that side of it is nice to have off. But still, when you're like a kid, when you're 4 or 5 years of age and you're out at home, I grew up in a farm back down in Portumna, and I thought I was winning All-Irelands every day.
Sure.
You know, when you're a kid and you think that's the way it is going to be when you become an adult and play with your county. But obviously, unless you're Henry Shefflin, you're not going to win 10 All-Irelands like that. So, yeah, it's just nice to have that off the shoulders, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd say it's a massive relief in many ways. Michael and Liam, realistically, when you start in a year, are you putting up on the whiteboard of aims winning All Ireland? Like, does every team do that, or do you have to be respectfully a bit more realistic about what you're trying to do?
Depends, I suppose. Depends where you're coming from. When I first started with Daly, it was just get to a Leinster final.
Yeah.
Last year when I started, it was just get fit. So that's literally it. I had 3 injuries that I barely made it. You know, I played all of like 2 months last year, made the good stuff.
Yeah.
Might do it again. The way to go. But yeah, that's the way it is. Like, so when you realise, I mean, 2009, we hadn't been in a Leinster final in like 15 years. Managed to get there, you know, so that's something. And then a couple of years after, you're just trying to win one, you know, or keep it up. And it'll change every year. And then you get different people in with different ideas, and they want to just break it way down. Don't even look at that. Like, you can have that way off there as an abstract, but if you don't do X, Y, and Z along the way, you're going nowhere.
Well, interestingly, at Leinster, they used to say that Michael Cheika was very Heineken Cup focused. We win the Heineken Cup. That's what we're about. It's all about the Heineken Cup. And Joe Schmidt still wanted to win the Heineken Cup, but stripped that away, took away the pictures of the Heineken Cup initially, and it was, we need to train well this morning. 2 different approaches, both obviously worked.
Yeah.
Daly and Gilroy seem like very different characters.
Yeah, chalk and cheese, I suppose. Daly's just mad, isn't he? You can't really describe him. What was I saw someone tweet? If only I could speak about my wife the way Daly speaks about her. And, you know, just yeah. So no, he was passionate. He was what we needed because
Infectious enthusiasm.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we just needed to get the show on the road. You know, we'd had a bit of underage success, so he took the first crop, and whoever was still hanging on from previous generations, you know, and just tried to turn around. You know, siege mentality stuff. Which we were literally coming from the base. They did. Exact same, you know. Clare in 90 were getting hammered. Same in 1-2, OK 3, got there in 5. You know, so that. He just tried to build the same thing. You know, it was a bit probably got too close because we were like ridiculously like a family nearly. You know, that way. So there's a divorce at the end, but that's just the way it is. Probably a bit. Whereas Pat is.
So hang on, what does too close mean?
Just probably. He'd be a great man for trusting character. So, and he'd say, look, he's come through for me before, I know he'll come through for me again. Even if there's been 5 league matches to prove that they won't. So in the end,
loyalty there, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of loyalty. I'd be great character for that. So that was probably the problems at the end, you know. We finished, just ran out of room, I suppose, in 2014, and there's younger lads coming through and felt they should be playing and things like that. So that was probably it, you know, and that was the only fault I'd ever find him, that he was just probably a bit too low at the end, you know.
Because from afar, it seems like it'd be great fun to play for an Anthony Daly team. Like, ultimately, above all else. Like, what kind of stuff? Because, I mean, wasn't there a big game where he took you down to Dollymount or the 40-foot instead of training one night? There was stuff like that going on, and you had some ice creams afterwards, all this kind of stuff?
Yeah, he'd bring out random stuff, all right, yeah.
Some highlights?
He'd forgive things as well. Like, we were away, and we went away a lot, yeah. He used to love training camps, in fairness to him.
Where would you go in training camps?
He enjoyed them more than we did.
Where would you go, like Spain or Portugal kind of
Portugal,
thing?
Yeah, Portugal. Right. I was devastated. Our first one was cancelled because of the ash cloud, you know. I'll never forget that. So we got to go to Briefy. Jeez.
Jeez.
I love you, man. Like, it's all right for a wedding, like. So, I know there was lads, of course, night before we're going away or training in the morning, lads disappear off, and he screams blue murder when they get back when we do a training session, and you're getting punished, just forgotten about, you know.
Yeah.
So we just get on with it, like, and there's things like that. Yeah, I suppose he saw people do things that he knew he'd have done himself, and we just let it slide. That's basically it.
Gilroy then?
I can see why he's a business success anyway. Like, from a management perspective, he will just compare him to Jerry, he will just like sit at the top, delegate. Anthony Cunningham does a lot of the training, Mickey Whelan do a lot of the like agility stuff, S&C people. He'll have everyone else in reporting up, and he'll chime in, you know, if you need a hammering because you're being lazy or whatever's going on. But other than that, he'll just give it to you straight and let everyone get on with their jobs.
Interesting, because we were all wondering from the outside how hands-on he would be. Obviously, he's more of a football background. And so he's a brilliant delegator. He's almost set up a working company.
I mean, exactly. Literally like company. I mean, you're not going to do everything as CEO. You're going to get people you trust to run different divisions, and I'd say that's how he's gone about it. It's probably I think it's probably how he went about the football as well. He'd a lot of lads in the training, and he just kind of oversee and like what he's telling them to focus on behind the scenes. I don't know, but yeah, that's how it seems to me anyway.
Did you like the new format this year? Because one of the highlights of the summer, I think, for a lot of people was that game against Kilkenny in Parnell Park. It was brilliant. And you took about 25 steps at one stage to set up a goal as well, which is great.
I was being fouled.
Were you okay? You were shrugging off. Did you like the format?
Absolutely loved it. Yeah, loved it. I think everybody did. I don't think
the football lads didn't. We'll get on to that.
Yeah, they were wrecked. No, it was brilliant. Really enjoyed it. Like I'd say, I'd nearly the only way you could like equalise it, like bring up another team so everyone plays on the same days. It's the unequal number of teams. So you had. You came off a fresh week against Kilkenny, and they were on their third week on the trot, and 20 minutes to go, they were out on their feet.
I think across the board, the team who'd had a week off were playing against a team on their third week. It was just the way the formatting worked. And I presume amateurs 3 weeks on the trot is just too much. You're not.
Well, it's not if the other team is on the same. It's same with even Premiership footballers that complain about. So you hear them complaining about midweek commitments, and you'd hear United complain about European commitments because their players play Wednesday and then again against a team who's had an extra 3 days.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of thing. Well, if it doesn't change, I won't complain. I love it. I much prefer it to like the previous, where if you lose early, you have 6 week wait for your next game. So it's just 6 weeks training,
Yeah. We're here at PwC offices celebrating their second year of sponsoring the All-Star Awards, and we have Joe Canning and Liam Rushe and Michael Quinlivan and Andy Moran. Curious to get your thoughts. What's it like being in the full forward line in football these days?
Yeah.
How miserable on a scale of 1 to 10 is it being a full forward?
I'd say if you're growing up these days, you want to be a half back, would you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it once was. It's not 1-on-1 anymore. You're probably playing 1-on-2, maybe 3 if you're getting the ball. But just you get on with it. You have to change your game depending on what people throw at you. And in the last few years, it's meant more bodies in front of you. So it means maybe drifting out the field, getting on one, trying to suck them out, maybe pulling away at the back post. There's a lot of things that you can do to counter that, and it doesn't really fall to the inside forward line as it once did to get all the scores in a team anymore. And
when you're pulling out and trying to take a man with you, is the plan that someone else is going to run into that space? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. If I can take 2 or 3 men with me and leave someone else 1-on-1 inside, that'll work just as well. So it's about trying to develop that over the last few years. It's getting tougher and tougher because teams are getting better at cutting out the space, but it's nice to come up against challenges like that. I'm sure.
Yeah.
We came up against a few of them this year, all right.
Yeah. Colin Cooper was talking about it recently, Andy, and he said just trying to stay patient is the hardest thing. Trying to have the confidence to not touch the ball for 11 minutes at times.
Yeah, and it's to me, I don't find it a difficult challenge. It's like there's certain teams.
Well, you're footballer of the year.
But there's certain teams that are going to play with the so-called sweeper, double sweeper, whatever they're going to do, and that's fine. But then there's other teams that play a looser style of football. Like if you've seen, I was even talking to Michael there, they pushed 7 onto our kick out this year. So I looked around and Killian was literally wide open in 40 or 50 yards of space, and I was thinking, what's happening here? So there's guys thinking of different ideas, even to squeeze the ball higher up the field,
Yeah.
And like Michael played against us this year, absolutely did untold damage in the first half. Like we weren't just going to leave him there sitting to do untold damage in the second half. He's one of the best players in the country. So you just have to adapt it and kind of try to move it. I think the biggest problem with playing inside full forward at the minute is, in terms of coaching, we're not kicking the ball enough. So you see guys this year, who are the standout players in the championship? To me, they're likes of Paul Mannion, David Clifford, Conor McManus, Michael Murphy when he played against Roscommon this year down at Hyde Park. All inside forwards, all scoring 1-5, 4 points. So I think we can take a narrative and run with it. I'm not saying you're doing it, Joe, but you are. But you can take a narrative and run with it, but I don't think it's entirely true.
Okay.
The kicking has gone. It's definitely down. I'd like to see the stats on how much the ball is actually kicked into the full forward line these days, because it's very hard to coach it. When to kick the ball, what's the right time, what's the angle, how deep it should be, that sort of thing. That it's same in any sport. It's a lot easier to coach defence rather than coach attack.
And the football year generally, that's the other big narrative, that football's in not a great place. Interestingly, the average scoring stats, I mean, the scoring's never been higher. I think we're up to 18 points a game. But but the spectacle is not maybe exciting people.
Yeah, and there's a lot of rule changes that people are suggesting. I would always be one for rewarding positive play.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to take away something, take away the hand pass, take away this. Teams will just come to a stage where they're going to be more negative, they're going to sit in, similar to the black card. The mark, on the other hand, where you're rewarding a high field, has been a massive success. So there's no doubt about it, Gaelic is in a bit of transition, but do you know, I remember watching football in the 90s. Genuinely, people giving out about the spectacle of football. People are still giving out of spectacle of football. You could, and no disrespect, love watching the hurling, but you could watch the worst hurling game in the world, and Daly be there, go and give it to us again, with his face, and he'd be like loving it, like where we just have this weight of the world on our shoulders. There's no one going to matches, all this nonsense. And to me, it's, you can take a stat of people going to matches in the 70s, and you can take a stat now, and I'd love to see what the stat is like.
Yeah.
And it's gone way up.
It's lost its one-on-one kind of man-on-man in the way that hurling hasn't.
Yeah.
So like back in the 90s, like the ball was kicked 50 yards and there was two lads battling for it, and people like to see that, you know. That's, you know, one person coming out on top and the roar goes up. Like,
well, there's a wildness about it. It's unpredictable. It's like a pinball machine.
Yep.
And so coaches are too smart now. They said, why would we just bang away possession? And so it's become this very controlled thing. There may be a point where it becomes too sterile. Now, I take your point that it hasn't. You don't feel it's gone to that point yet.
I think the problem is that there's one team that's a good distance ahead of everybody else, and like the Limerick Galway match probably wasn't the best standard in terms of hurling, but geez, you'd watch that last 10 minutes all day.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just that bit closer, and it's a bit more kind of energetic, a bit more, as Michael said, one-on-one battles. But there's no hurling manager going out saying, we're going to leave Joe Canning one-on-one here in the middle of the pitch.
No, true.
And just let him run amok, like, do you know?
the mood in the room has gone seriously down since you started talking about football anyway.
You're not helping me, Quinlivan, here now. He's turned into the full analyst, hasn't he? He's got on everything, yeah.
To be fair, last year's All-Ireland final is a contender for the greatest All-Ireland final of all time. I mean, I know you probably wouldn't think so for obvious reasons, but as a spectacle, it was thrilling from the first second. So, is that in spite of the rules? Is that because of the rules? Who knows? It was two brilliant teams going at it. So, it would make the case that the rules aren't that bad.
No, and football is different than hurling. So,
of course,
like, football is probably more like it's more like, even though but it's more of a soccer equivalent in terms of the build-up play and how you're going to set it up. So people need to know what they like and what they want to go and see. For me, that's football. I love going to football. I'd watch an under-8s game playing football, senior league game, whatever. I'd watch Anthem.
Yeah.
But other people don't like that, and if you don't like it, my advice to people is stay away from it.
There's also doesn't seem to be the same appreciation for what people can kind of do with a football.
Go on.
I mean, you go to I'll take an example. I was at Galway and Kildare, and Shane Walsh picked up a ball in the middle of the field, solo past three men with his right leg, dummied to shoot with his right leg, threw three lads off and turned on and put it over the bar with his left leg, and I was just standing there going, oh Jesus, that is class. But everyone else is just kind of like,
yeah,
that's it, like, and nobody talks about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Whereas that's unbelievable athleticism, great skill, and you just don't get the same, or it doesn't seem to be the same acclaim.
Doesn't register, yeah.
Exactly, it doesn't seem to register with people.
Like, what would Anthony Daly have done about that Shane Walsh piece of skill?
No idea.
Lost his mind.
Exploded. Yeah.
But you see the likes of Shane Walsh. You see the likes of
Yeah,
Shane Walsh.
phenomenal.
You see the point from Conor McManus against Tyrone. You see what Clifford did, Young Howard from Dublin. These guys, what Lee Keegan can do, Michael. These guys that are...
And he's very low on himself there, isn't he?
I was kind of the small little fat lad slow that I'd use my head a bit more. But you guys, in terms of the athletic ability and the skill level that's going through, is like Brian Fenton at the minute in Dublin. Like, I think we're so worried about giving out about the game that we're missing some of the greatest players of generations playing the game, because we're giving out about... People are still talking about the blanket defence. The blanket defence ended back in 1999. Like,
Yeah.
Like, it's moved on. The tactics have moved on. And we're still analysing something that happened in late 90s, early 90s.
So I sense you're reading and watching and listening to the media and thinking, lads, get with the gig. I mean, you're not analysing what we're doing properly at all here.
Well, don't get me wrong. I've watched football games and you're like, ooh, that's not great. And you're saying that's not great for the spectacle. But I can admire still within a game that a defender can honestly beat a corner forward, and you can admire that bit of skill.
Yeah.
I can still, even though Galway are our biggest rivals in Connacht, and they've beat us 3 times in a row, I can still look at Shane Walsh and go, I would pay in to watch you playing football. Do you know?
Yeah.
And I think we've lost that sense of
Excitement almost.
Yeah,
as well,
and like you see what Conor McManus did to Kerry up in Clonus, like amazing stuff. Like, sure, why wouldn't you pay in to watch that? Like?
Yeah. Did you have a sense that Stephen Rochford's time was coming to an end?
Come on, Joe. No, drop that in there. No, to be honest with you, what happened to us, we got bet by Kildare, and Donny, it was...
What a strange week that was, by the way.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Were you making plans to, if you had to go to Croke Park and Newbridge and, hotels?
I think we always kind of thought it was going to be Newbridge.
Right, okay.
Barry Cal is down there. Does he want to talk about the Newbridge or no? Or GA to back about? No, we were always planning to go to Newbridge, if I'm being honest. We always thought it was going to be there. And we just said, listen, we'll just do our week's training and away we go.
Right. Would you have had different tactics for Kildare at Newbridge versus Kildare at Croke Park as a matter of interest? Like with the pitch
once you go to Croke Park, it's a different game.
Is it?
It's a different game. I'm not sure if that's the same in hurling, but Croke Park is a different game in football. In terms of the ball moving quicker, spaces, midfielders breaking away from their men, the atmosphere getting on top of you. It's a different game.
Is it?
Yeah.
We'll come back to the Rochford thing in a second. That's very interesting. As in, so different that you might set up differently, have different players in different positions.
Well, in Newbridge, like, you're talking way tighter pitch.
Yeah.
Like, we were even down there doing something there a couple of weeks ago, and Kieran Donny was with us, and he just goes, "Oh, it's awful tight," he said. Do you know? So it's a tight pitch, like.
Yeah.
Do you know? So in Croke Park, you're talking acres, vast acres of space. Not that you do anything tactically, but if you have athletic guys, which Kildare and Mayo do, you've way more area to run into. Your kickouts are going to be a tiny bit different, and it's going to be just little variations all the time.
Would you feel Croke Park suits Mayo?
100%, yeah. Because like if you look at our kind of setup, we're built with athletic fellas. You're like the Lee Keegans, the Paddy Durkins, the Keith Higginses. These guys like having space in front of them, and when it opens up to do it, you know.
Probably too basic a way of putting it, but would you be more attacking or more defensive in Croke Park in your mindset?
Depending on who you're playing.
Okay.
So my view on Dublin is that which one of the Dublin six do you leave? You know, which one do you leave free? You can't leave any. You don't leave Foward free. You don't leave. You know, they destroy you. So Niall Scully, you don't leave any of them free. Paul Flynn when he's playing, so you have to just mark them. So you can be defensive all you want. At midfield, you can't leave Fenton. You can't leave James McCarthy. So you have to go man on man. You know.
So Newbridge or nowhere happens, and I goes. You take a few weeks. At that stage, your understanding is Rochford will be back, and the band will get back together.
Yeah, I actually did an interview the week after, and they were asking me about my future going forward, and I just go, if Stephen picks me, I hope to make myself available for selection. But then the backroom team, we knew we were leaving because huge commitments. Like Tony Buckley did six great years with us, was brilliant for us.
McEntee,
a lot of young kids living in Armagh. You know, just had another kid.
They're a brilliant backroom team, is the word from everyone.
Yeah, they were very good. Yeah, you know, and then Peter Burke had again 4 or 5 young kids. You know, and then Joe Kane was there as well, and again he's 3 young kids. So they were busy people, you know, and they did their time, and it was there. But we thought Rochi was coming with a background team. We didn't really stay until about it. We stayed with our clubs, and then just all kicked off, and that's just the way it was, you know. And
does Stephen Rushe give you a phone call or a text, or how do you find out?
There was communication before it and after it, but I think it was in the general sphere in Mayo probably 24 hours before it happened.
Right. Okay.
So everyone kind of knew what was going to happen. Just before it happened, really.
His sense of things is very clear. He doesn't feel he had the support from the County Board that he wanted. He wasn't getting the right vibes from them.
Yeah.
Did he deserve that support, do you think?
Listen, we were there for 3 years. We had 3 great years.
Yeah.
The situation is what it is. Like, it's my thing to say the County Board should have supported and they should have. That's not up to me to say. What we can say as players is we were there to play. We're there to play for Stephen Rochford, and
you'd have liked him to stay.
What happened between them? What happened between them and Stephen is up to them.
But I'm sensing. I know you don't want to put yourself in the middle of a Andy Moran criticises County Board headline.
No, I think it's but for Mayo
football. But you'd like
football,
Stephen to have stayed.
But for Mayo football, and I'll answer it like this: for Mayo football, right, it's more important that we're out of the press than in it. And at the minute, what's been done is done. We're all with our new clubs, and we're new managers coming in. So whoever that is, we'll support him.
Who would you like to see come in?
Who's the candidates?
I don't know. James Horn's been talked about. You obviously had a great time with him.
Yeah, so James was there for 4 years. I was captain for 3 of them. Obviously have a great relationship with him. The other nominees are, you know, they're they're what they are. You know, Jack O'Connor has been mentioned, Mike Solan has been mentioned, and it's you know, you could have a mix of something. But the way it works in Mayo is you go away to your clubs, they get nominated, and then they go to interview. So whoever puts themselves forward for nomination will get the job. You know.
Do you feel this team can still do it? Like they're being written off as like, you know, time is against them increasingly, and you know, like you people say, can Andy Moran do what he did last year again? It's tough as you get older, and Keith Higgins getting older, and you know, as Joe said, you don't have to win an All-Ireland to be regarded as a great team, and I think this Mayo team are regarded as absolutely great. You know, it's hard not to call Dublin the team of the decade. You have to really, but you know, Mayo are right there, and they have been there, and everyone's seen how brilliant they've been. Is there more in this team, do you feel, or was last year a big blow? Because this year felt like a tough year for you.
See, I think football has changed. So years ago was you go away for the winter, you kind of don't really do your work, and you come back in and you try to slog it again, and injuries and stuff like that. It's not really the way it works now. So the lifespan of a footballer has gone from about 28, 29 to about 32, 33. So there's still an opportunity. Now, for this current team that started off in 2011, how thinner is that opportunity? It's a lot. Okay, so that it definitely is. The Super 8s definitely makes it tougher to win an All-Ireland.
Yeah.
But for me, it's there's young fellas coming through. We've put together Brendan Harrison. No one has even mentioned him being missing this year. An All-Star from 16. Paddy Durkin, Owen O'Donoghue, Jeremy O'Connor, Stephen Cohen, Joe James Durkin, Keane Hanley's back from Australia, and then you've all the under-20s coming along with it. So can we win an All-Ireland? We've as much chance as everybody else outside Dublin, like. You know?
Yeah. And Dublin's dominance has been talked about a lot. They're 6 months younger than they were when they won their first 4 of the 4 in a row.
Yep.
They've regenerated to that level. I mean, you're so close last year. I mean, and then there's a draw the year before. Like, it's the tiniest of margins. Where is that gap now? Are you worried they could take off a little bit?
I think if we play Dublin and Croke Park on a September's day, you've got a real chance. Our problem is we have to get there.
Yeah. So
this year we didn't even get to the last 8. So our problem is getting back, winning our league games, winning our Connacht title, and then hitting for it and giving yourself a chance. We're leaving our margins way too thin. Like we drew with Derry last year, even though we got to a final, they brought us extra time. Drew with Cork, drew with Roscommon. You know, so
you seem to match the level you were playing against.
Exactly, but then when we got to Croke Park, then all of a sudden we started playing.
Yeah,
you
matched that level too.
So
what was your approach for Dublin? Did you just say, let's horse into them? It sort of felt like that. Every time you got the ball, you just drove into them. You know, as simple as that, because there was an attitude about that performance that we don't often see against Dublin.
Yeah, it was for the game itself. Looking back on it, it's over 12 months now, but it's our players, as I said, are very athletic.
Yeah.
The Dublin players are very athletic, so we match up quite well when you're in Croke Park and everyone is at full fitness and you're moving. You know, but at the end of the day, teams have to get to 20 points, and I've said this before in the past. The only team that have bet Dublin in the last couple of years are Kerry in the National League final, and they got, I think, to 21 points.
You got to 116 last year, which was, by the way, good enough to win the previous 9 finals.
9 finals, but Dublin always gets 20 points.
Yeah, they were 117. So you got you were 15 points in the drawn game in 16, and then you got to 114 in the replay. Yeah. And in 2013, you got to 114. So you've been. We
were always fluctuating around that 15 score mark.
Right.
So then it went up to 17 scores. Or what was it? 116. Yeah. So it still
19,
wasn't.
Yeah.
Still wasn't where we needed to be. But a team needs to get to 20 points to put Dublin under pressure. You need to get to 20 points with the accuracy of Dean Rock from frees.
Yeah.
He's very understated for them for their subs coming on. You just need to get to that level.
Okay. So when you're in a game, when you were looking at the scoreboard, would it almost be that you'd focus less on what they're doing and almost just say, right, that's our 11 point, 9 to go? Is that how you treat it, or would you actually just?
No, it's kind of like what you said about Joe Schmidt. You'd actually break it down, right, and you'd say, this is the way we're going to approach each section of the game, you know? And like we want to be at this level at half time. This gives us a chance, then we push on and we try to get to it, you know?
Right, okay.
So that's the way you do it. Obviously get your matchups right at the back and then kind of go for it. Yeah. Now, Conor Callan goes and scores a goal in the first minute of the game, and then all of a sudden everything needs to be adjusted.
Yeah, no doubt. So are you enthusiastic about getting going again next year, Joe?
At the moment, no.
I love the honesty. You're meant to say yes, can't wait.
You're still thinking about a few weeks ago, but we have club championship at the moment as well.
Right.
And we went back there last week and we lost our match again, so it's been a bad couple of weeks. And if we lose on Saturday, we're out of the championship. So could be a bad few weeks for me to hang around with. But
when would you start? Like, when did you start this year? Is it January? Is it before that?
yeah, we were a little bit later back this year. We were celebrating a bit too much, probably. But
is that a factor? You tour the
no,
county. Is that all true? All that stuff you go around
yeah,
towns
you do
and
that.
schools
But like, we've only won five All Ireland. So
Yeah.
if you can't celebrate an All Ireland final win, we were back training before Christmas last year.
Okay.
And to be quite honest about it, we probably didn't take the league as serious as years before.
By choice.
But yeah, because the championship there was more matches involved. We played 9 championship matches this year, and if we would have burnt out basically for championship if we took the league as serious as years gone by. So it kind of suited us in a way to kind of tailor that towards the end of the championship, but obviously we didn't factor in 2 other replay matches in it. So I think it'll become less and less important for counties now with league, to be straight up about it. I can't see a team going hammer and tongs for the league and then going hammer and tongs for championship.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible anymore.
Really, yeah, because I think Michael Ryan said it, that, you know, immediately after Tip were knocked out, he said, well, one thing I've learned from the format is I don't think we'll be taking the league the same way again.
Yeah.
Out in our feet, kind of.
Yeah. And Division 1A is so competitive. It's almost like a second championship.
Yeah.
Do you know, you're coming up against the best teams, obviously, in the country week on week, and like, if you lose one or 2 of them, like, it's like
Crisis.
the world is going to end.
Yeah.
Do you know? And it's only February, March.
Yeah.
Do you know? So it's a bit unrealistic, but no, I think we'll be back. Well, hopefully, if Micheál lets me back in, probably November, I'd say. Yeah, October, end of October, November. Depends on club championship as well. Yeah.
I was just thinking this summer, it was the 10-year anniversary of you hopping on the scene as a 19-year-old and scoring 2-12 against Cork. So, no pressure, Joe, for the next 10 years kind of moment. Is it more enjoyable now to be part of this team where, basically, I think for the first 6, 7, 8 years of your career, there's a lot of, well, it's Joe and the rest.
Yeah.
And that was how Galway were talked about. That's how you were talked about. That was put on your shoulders. A weird dynamic, I would think, especially for a young player to handle.
Yeah, very frustrating dynamic. Do you know? One which was always on my mind, whether the rest of the team would think that or not, and that was that's not a good thing to have. Do you know? And that wasn't us saying it. That was media, basically.
Yeah. It was a constant thing.
Yeah,
media.
and like, you'd have to live under a rock not to kind of hear it, you know. So yeah, it was very annoying, and it probably held us back a little bit, you know.
How so?
It's just not a good vibe to have, and people, like, every day you lose, like, it's an excuse, and every day you win, it's something more, do you know. It's just there was never, like, there was never an even ground. Do you know what I mean? And it was very, very frustrating.
Did you ever try and address it and say, lads, look, sorry, this is absolute bullshit. I'm like, please pay no heed. I don't think it. You don't think it. We're a team.
No, but I didn't, like, I was only a young guy at the time. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't realise it at the time, but now I look back and it's ridiculous. But it's obviously a lot easier to look back and when we've been, I suppose, a little bit more successful in the last number of years compared to years gone previous. And when I was starting, we were losing quarterfinals and that by a point or 2. And now we're kind of, in the last 2 years, we've been just getting over the line in those matches where we would have lost them in years gone by. But yeah, it was always, didn't sit well with me.
No, I can imagine, because you didn't court it. I never felt you were certainly trying to play It's the Joe Show. Like, you were never that type in the media. There wasn't much you could do about it. Would you have felt the pressure in matches, geez, I need to score 12 points again here?
I would have never felt the pressure in that sense, but I would have heard it from the stands.
Jeez, you get a great time out nights out, and then in the stands.
I
as
know,
well.
like my family and stuff would hear it, you know, and
Sure.
you'd hear that. Like if you missed a free, you'd hear the groans of the crowd, you know, and you might miss 1 in 10 shots, you know. But that's just the expectation, and it was kind of. I've been on record saying that 212 was the worst thing I ever did, because it set standards for me different than I was probably used to, and I was expected to do that every day, which obviously is not possible.
No.
So yeah, that was, if I could take back anything I've done in the past, that day would probably be it.
It's mad, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a strange thing to say, but that's the honest truth.
No, I understand. Do you remember it well that day, the 212? You must have been thinking, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, it was more that like Cork beat us with 14 men for the majority of the match. Like, we didn't finish it out.
Okay.
That was it. I remember. Yeah, it was fine. You're 19 years of age. You're scoring 212. It's different, but I actually remember the first match was in Casement Park against Antrim a few weeks before that, and that's what I remember even more. You know, because I was playing with Eugene Cloonan, who would have been a hero of mine growing up, like, and lining out beside him. I remember we flew up as well, which is Gerlucknan time. So, yeah, we flew from Galway to Belfast, which is
Flash.
Yeah, 2008, like. Yeah.
I won't be so unfair as to ask for thoughts on who should get Hurler of the Year, because in fairness, you're one of the nominees, so that might be a bit unfair. Curious for your thoughts on Footballer of the Year? The nominees are Kilkenny, McCaffrey and Brian Fenton.
Poor minor team between the three of them, and they're all the same age. I honestly don't know.
You beat them that year, didn't you?
Honestly don't know.
Right.
I think you can make a case for all three of them. McCaffrey was man of the match in both the final and the semi-final, which is a huge bearing on it. Fenton has probably been the outstanding footballer this year, just from his utter control of every single game he seems to play, and Kilkenny is probably their playmaker and most important forward. So, I mean, I reckon there won't be 5% in the votes, I'd say, between any of the three of them. I'd say it'll be very, very mixed. You could find a lot of backs voting for McCaffrey, forwards for Kilkenny. And
is that how it works, yeah?
yes, you know, it's a union. I vote for Andy, you know.
I would say Kieran should get Footballer of the Year, because I just think he's been the playmaker for years, but I just think, I even said before the final, I think the score level he's brought to the game this year has been huge. I think it's been huge for him to up his score levels, and even in the final he looked like he was struggling for a long time, and then all of a sudden he turned the screw on Tiernan McCann, and the game nearly switched with it. Now, the Jack McCaffrey thing is unreal, because he did his cruciate ligament last year in the All-Ireland final, and to come back and to be nominated for Footballer of the Year. Has anyone ever won 2 Footballer of the Years? He's won one, hasn't he? So this could be his second one. So even to be in that contention after doing a cruciate 12 months ago, it'd be hard not to give him a vote. Like, but I am a forward, so I have to go with Kilkenny.
Can Kilkenny, like, just stop him? You know, like, if you stop Kilkenny, it's the easy thing to say. He's obviously just so physical and good. It's very difficult.
Yeah, he has everything, though. He's intelligent. He's a lot more intelligent than people give him credit for, and they play completely off his movement out to.
Right.
So where he gets the ball and what he does with the ball sets what they're going to do on that attack, and that's what people. You just look at Dublin and say, oh, they've got another score, but they've worked on that. How many times him picking up a ball on what side of the field, who should be getting it at the end?
Are you like that? I mean, are other teams like that? Is it choreographed the way it seems Dublin are?
Not. I wouldn't say they're as very choreographed, but there is a pattern. Every team tries to work on a pattern. You know, we tried for a couple of years to get more high balls into our square, and it worked. But you try to get into areas that you can deliver the ball, and that's what Dublin do a hell of a lot better, because they do it a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently than every other team.
How much choreography do you feel is going on with Dublin?
Yeah, it's the two guys out wide on the sidelines cutting in. I think it suits. I think the way the play suits the players to have. So Kieran Kilkenny makes the diagonal run. Jack McCaffrey's coming in off the line, getting the ball. Paul Mannion doing the same. And I think it's just. It's good, and you're saying about stopping Kieran Kilkenny, which is very important. I feel we stopped him last year in the final.
Lee Keegan, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lee stopped him. I think some crazy number of possessions, and Lee got a goal up the fair in the field. I had to give him a plug, but they still, we scored 119. You said, like, and they scored what?
Well, 116. Yeah, you got to
116. They scored
117.
You know, so we did stop them, but they still got 20 points. You know, so it's just the way it is.
That's how their game has evolved, though. As in, they've changed depending on the players that they've had. Like in years gone by, they had brilliant kickers of the ball from 40 or 50 yards, and you used to see brilliant kick passes going into their inside forward line. Now they're a lot more measured about what they do because they have great runners of the ball and brilliant athleticism. So it's a big, you know, plus beside Jim Gavin's name that he's recognised that and not just said this worked for me in the past, it's going to work for me in the future. They've changed the game again. Like.
Yeah, he probably isn't getting the credit he deserves in some respects, Jim Gavin, to be fair to him. Last point to you two then on that. How much is going on in hurling? I remember I saw a quote from you after the Galway game last year, and you were saying the rotation of their forwards was kind of just really, really difficult to get a hold of. So, you know, I think Anthony Daly's fond of saying, you know, in hurling 1,000 mad things happen and then somebody wins.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So I wonder, like, how people are trying to force a level of tactical control on the game like hurling, and it's interesting to watch it at the moment. Yeah. How much is going on? How much is choreographed?
Like Daly used to say, let's not make rocket science of it. It's like, not rocket science. So he's very simple. Yeah, that was, I mean, nearly the first tactics I came across, like the sweeper, like someone had thrown a sweeper. So we did in 2009, and Alan McCrabb won an All-Star as a complete free man in the middle. So me and Dossie used to claim that was half hours, you know. Yeah. Because we were the lads dogged in the full forward line, just chasing long balls, you know.
So you have 2.5 All-Stars.
Exactly, yeah, that's what we're claiming. But that was the first introduction, and like bar that, like we might go 3 in the middle and different things.
It's fairly basic stuff, really.
Very basic stuff. I said the rotation I was talking about, they brought that in 2012, and they'd like 3 to 5, 1 or 2 would stay in positions, and the rest would just roll depending on where they finished plays. He'd let you know more about it now, maybe. He'd think about it. But Derek McGrath took it on again. Look, I don't think you're going to win doing, if you go, you can't defend like you can in football. It's too, you're not going to be able to get enough men in and around. Like if you can score from midfield, you know, there's no point bringing all your players back. Someone's just going to hit it over you over the bar. And then on the counter, even if you are 3-on-1 or 4-on-2, there's a fair chance you're still going to concede. Like Waterford, fair play to them, they came from nowhere, but they have no medals. Like, I mean, not to be harsh, but like, it's just very hard. It's very hard. Jesus. I know, I just don't like it creeping in. I just don't want everyone to start playing it like, but it's very hard.
You wouldn't be a fan of watching it or playing in those games?
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to win consistently. Like, I don't think you're going to win an All-Ireland series doing it. They came up against Tipperary in a couple of Munster finals. Even with all the lads back, it's still very hard. I mean, a ball's hit 120 yards, and if the man actually marking doesn't break it, sure, it was a goal. It was 1-on-1 inside, you know. So it's much harder to do in hurling. That's why we get away with it, you know.
Yeah. What's your read on it all?
It's a lot different, obviously, in the last number of years. Different teams bring different kind of game plans and stuff like that. For like, I think last year, we played 7 games or something like that, and like we never set out any day to play with a sweeper, but we ended up because the other team were. Remember, we played Offaly last year, and they had 6 backs and 2 midfielders in between their half back line and full back line. So we're playing with 8 backs basically, and then everything was just drawn back. And
did you just sit out the field and take your points?
Yeah, I think we scored 33 points or something that day.
So that can't work. Like,
you know what I mean?
It doesn't work in hurling.
No,
like score from too far away. Like.
Yeah. You know, so I don't know if we had a shot on goal or whatever that day, but you know, we won the All-Ireland without scoring a goal I think last year. So, but that wasn't the way we wanted to set up. But it was just we had to adapt to it. It's the same way you see other, like Clare, for instance, this year, John Conlon gets every ball down in the 13 corner. And like you see with different counties, the way they play. So if majority of his balls are down into that corner for his hand, and then he turns and he's left. And it sometimes is obviously very hard to defend when you know that that's going to happen. But still, in hurling, if you're not working hard enough out the field on the guy that's hitting the ball, it's very hard for Dahi or anybody that's marking in the full back line to actually,
Yeah,
get out
totally.
in front.
And
So
when Liam's talking about the rotating forwards,
yeah. Huh. We're just filling the 6 positions after a play.
Is it? Okay.
No, it's different days, but like we're fairly adaptable,
so what might provoke you to say, well, I'm going to go there? Is it just because you might? I mean, you must talk about it beforehand. We're doing this and we're doing it because. What's the reason?
It's more that we try and fill positions. It's not a whole thing to get into like the backs' minds or anything like that. But like if I'm after or
Liam was
whoever,
spooked.
yeah, well, like sometimes you often see a guy wing forward or midfield make a run in and have a shot on goal and he ends up in the 21 and then he has to break his arse back
Okay, so
out
you're
the
just filling
field.
in for each other sometimes.
So what's the point in having him sprint back out again and just stay where you are and we'll basically move around again and get you back out there. So a lot of it is that. And we're lucky enough that we have a lot of guys that can play in different positions. Like you saw it this year, Joe Cooney went wing back for the replay semi-final. He plays centre back with his club, but he plays wing forward for us for majority. So we have different guys that can play in different places. So we're quite adaptable to going anywhere around the field.
So it's not this massively choreographed, oh, I have to run here and he used to do this and we have to do it at that exact time. You think that's not happening in the game at the moment?
Not with us anyway.
Right.
We're not that structured yet.
Okay.
Maybe other teams are that, like I said, Clare, majority of the ball went into that corner. And if you look back on all their matches, a lot of scores came from that corner. And different teams have different strategies and stuff like that. So,
okay. Can I ask you one last question then to finish up? Because I don't want to go over time because everyone in the room has skived off work for a full hour now, to be exact. One of the most beautiful things that we see in Irish sport is, and you're one of the great proponents of it, is a sideline cut. It's just this kind of magical thing. So I've never played hurling. I don't even think I fully get the science of it. Could you talk us through when you're 50, 60 metres out on the right-hand side and you're trying to float one in left to right? What's the thought process? What are you doing with your body? Like, do you know, have you broken it down in your head? Some players say, I don't know, I just hit it. But I feel like you might have thought through everything you're doing in it. Put the ball down. Are you putting it on a tuft?
Yeah. Obviously, I have a routine and a certain way I place it and like take a certain amount of steps back. And
how many are we going back?
It's kind of 1.5 and then just take a little step back and go through. And it's almost like a genuflection, an exaggerated genuflection into the ball and get down low and just follow through. And like,
are you keeping the hurl open the whole way? Or are you trying to slice under it?
I'm just, to be honest, I'm concentrating between the ball and the grass. That's the only, like, it's like Anthony, you say when you're young, keep your eye on the ball when you're hitting it, but that's the only thing I'm concentrating on, and my routine will get me the rest. Basically practice since I was a kid. Like.
And what part of your hurl do you want hitting the grass ball?
This sounds really stupid, Jesus. Because I'm obviously used to doing it.
Yes, I know,
so,
most of us in the room don't float them over from 60 yards in Crow Park, to be fair, sorry. You all know how to do it, go on.
It's just the heel of the hurley. And it's kind of like at about a 45-degree angle and you just follow through. But like I aim from left to right because the ball, like I hit it with my right, so it swerves in like that. So I'd always be aiming for the left side of the goals. And hoping it comes back.
Generally does. Like it seriously, like it does. You get the swerve. It does tend to obey the rules.
Yeah. Like I'd never hit one the other way. Never in my life. So.
Do some players hook them?
If they're hitting it off their other side, off their left. But it's just kind of practice more so than that. It's like hard to explain because I'm just so used to it. I don't think about it now. It's just like I have the routine set for so many years that I leave the ball down. It just kind of comes natural in a way without sounding like a gobshite.
Not at all. No. Shane Lowry's like that. If you ask Shane Lowry, show us how you hit that shot, he's like, and he has to you can't teach it. You can't explain it. Whereas Harrington could go, well.
Yeah.
And would talk to you for 25 minutes. Bubba Watson doesn't know what he's doing, really.
He hit a fade. I look at the ball, I think fade. You draw, same way.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. So you've just done it for so long. Love doing it as a kid, clearly, did you?
Yeah, I saw my brother doing it when I was younger. So
And thought that's cool.
yeah, I want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was basically it. Yeah.
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 Do you try them? Do you take them?
No. Right. I wouldn't get it off the ground. No, I was centre back like for forever. Basically, you don't really go off taking sidelines from there.
Okay.
You just hold.
And could you, if I said to you, I need you to crack this one in the air, would it be a disaster or?
Like it'd be a bit of a skull crusher, like, you know, come off like that. I wouldn't be sticking them from 65.
Yeah, okay. Slight bit of pressure doing it in front of Harry and Meghan, I presume? You don't want to duff that one?
I missed the first one.
Oh, did you?
Well, it went wide. Yeah.
Right. What did you say? It's supposed to go wide.
Yeah. They just edited that one.
Right.
Yeah, it was weird. All right.
I'd
Yeah.
say it was strange, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, good job. I got the second one.
It strikes me as an incredibly enjoyable thing to stand there in Croke Park and you know you've caught it lovely and just watch it and wait for the turn.
It is, yeah. But when it goes wide, then you're just like, why are you wasting such an opportunity? Like, do you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like sometimes you miss them, and you can hear people going, "Fuck's sake!" Do you know?
What would they
why?
want you to do?
Well, they want you to score it.
I know, but like,
So-
I mean, you're trying to. Like, you're trying to.
I
Like,
know,
what do
yeah.
they
But
want?
like when you don't, like it's just like, yeah. Why didn't you? Like, do you know, people kind of see it as a free shot now, and it's almost like a free, I suppose. That if you miss one, it's zoned in on more so than the ones you score.
You've set those standards now. Like, you generally would be expected to score them, particularly that right-hand side one that you like. You'd back you. If you're watching on TV, you'd say, he's probably going to do it. I don't know what your stats would be out of 10, but you're up there, like, more so than in the past, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Lads,
I won't be able to fit outside the door.
I know, yeah. It's tough to talk about the size of you. Yeah, it's tough. Tell us how great you are, Joe. Really detailed, moment by moment. Lads, thanks so much for doing this. Thoroughly enjoyable, and I'm sure everybody's enjoyed it as well. And we are here, a reminder, we're in the PwC offices to celebrate their second year. They're sponsoring the All-Stars again, and that's going to be on November 2nd in the convention centre next door. Will you all come up? You're all up?
Yeah.
No?
Not invited.
Does every player in the country not get an invite, no?
Ah, you do. I have 2 kids, Joe.
You show up when you get the call telling you you're going to win, but otherwise...
I had only 1 kid then. I have 2 kids now. I can't get out of the house.
Listen, it's been good fun and great to get some really good insights. So Andy and Michael and Liam and Joe, round of applause, everyone. Thanks so much.